Nguri International on another episode of How I Made It. And like as usual, always have different guests. And today I have a very special guest that you guys will get to know more about him. He's going to introduce himself. And after the break, we'll be right back so that you get to know him. And here is my lovely special guest, my homeboy actually. So he's gonna introduce himself right now so that I don't have to say his stuff. So tell us more about yourself and what you do.
What up, my people? My name is Grin, aka Grin-Nyau King. I'm a musician from Malawi. I'm an entrepreneur, and yeah, we go way back, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And I want to say, on air, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure sharing this show with you and being here today. So thank you for having me.
Oh, we're also glad that you actually showed up for our show. So really excited and glad to have you here. So first of all, tell us just how you started your music journey, from when you started, how you discovered yourself that you want to be a musician.
I have a very interesting journey in music. When it all started, actually, first and foremost, I never thought I'd be a musician.
Yeah.
I was a poet. And in high school, I dropped music because every time we got my sort of report card, music would always have like the failing mark.
Yeah.
I'd have A's, B's, a nice looking report card.
Yeah.
And then when you get to music, you just get the F.
Yeah.
So I dropped it, and I took art instead. And fast forward, I went to Botswana. That's where music started for me. And I had a friend called Tetso and Fiona. They usually came to the house simply because we used to have food at home after school. So kids, you're hungry, let's go to take Grin's
always
house.
Looking forward to the knocking time.
There's food there.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And so they would come over, and at home we would make beats. They would freestyle, and I used to just watch them. And Tetsu used to say to me, "It's not different. You're a poet, so you write, you express. This is just a different form of expression." So I started sort of venturing into the music, playing along with different, ideas and so forth. And then we did a song, 2 songs actually. And at that time, they used to have these programs called the MAP V show, or was it the Maropula school, the high school. And they used to have these talent shows they would put on. So everybody from around the city, from different schools, would come, whether you're dancers or whether you're artists. So we went with the 2 songs. We went and we performed, and it went absolutely amazing. The reaction, people really loved the music. So for me, I thought, wow, this is exciting, this is interesting. That's where everything music started for me. And that's, those are the guys that helped me come up with the name Grin. So for me, musically, that's where everything started, leading up to fast forwarding to, where I am today.
Okay, so you're basically known as the Nyau King in Malawi. So how did that come up to be known as the Nyau King? What are you really trying to represent? Is it from where you come from, or it's just representing your culture? I've
always believed that as an artist, you need to have an identity, something that people can relate to. You stand for something. What does your music stand for? What is the message behind your music? And for me, it's always been about that we need to be proud of where we come from. We need to be proud of our heritage. When I started music, a lot of Malawian youth were idolizing, artists from the Western countries. Your Eminems, your Jay-Z, Ja Rules, and it was just sort of transforming and diluting our culture. They weren't proud anymore to say, "Yo, I'm from Malawi." All these traditional dances. So I thought to myself, look, if I can make music that appeals to the young generation, but also links them back to where they come from, maybe we could sort of change and help, mold the music industry in that direction. So that's what I ventured into. So my music fused a lot of Nyau drums, the dancing, the storylines, the chants, and simply because I'm a Chewa, so from the central region, our Nyau is our thing, and I fused a lot of that within my music to the point where the big Chewa chiefs, gave me an award to say I'm one of the people that is sort of promoting and preserving our culture through arts and entertainment. which for me was a humbling thing.
Yeah.
And at that particular function, they said it's fine. You can continue using, the title
Grin-Nyau
Nyau King.
Yeah.
So for me, it's, it comes from them blessing me and them seeing that, I've really played a role in getting the young people to, embrace their culture, but also help promote where they come from.
Yeah. So being an artist that really started way back and up to the stage where you are right now, how has your journey been for you to be consistent in producing more and more music? At some point a lot of things happen in the music industry, maybe competition and stuff like that. So how have you stayed still focused on your music and still producing more? How has that journey been?
Right. I think from your question, two things immediately stood out for me.
Yeah.
Every time I produce a song or I release a song,
Yeah.
or I'm in the studio and I'm working or I'm making a plan for a new release, I still think of myself as the underdog, as the new artist. I've never reached a point where I say I made it or I'm big. I always think of myself as I'm starting, and I'm starting again, and I'm starting again. So for me, that has helped me to keep consistent, because I've never let go of the hunger, the drive, the passion. It's something that is consistent within me, And as far as competition is concerned, my last hit record is my competition. So if I'm making music, I'm not really looking at which artist is out there, which artist is doing what. I'm looking at Take Ben's last big song. What did that do? Can I do a song that's going to, surpass what the last song did? So my competition is internal, and I'm a fan of talent, and one thing that has kept me relevant is just being able to adapt, being able to work with new talent that's coming up, I always believe you could learn from every situation. There's never, everyone is able to teach someone something, So I work very well with young talent, but it helps me keep young, because then I'm in tune to what they like, what they're into. So when I make music, I still consider them and continue growing with my music. I've been doing music for over 15 years now.
That's a really long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah, I guess people have grown up seeing you on TV and be like, I want to be that guy. So, how do you look yourself up to maybe a younger generation, maybe that are still trying to come up with music? What especially can you advise them towards being, or maybe getting to the goal that you're also trying to achieve, or where you are right now? What can you advise them? Because I'm sure there are a lot of artists in Malawi that want to be like you, or maybe be something much more. So what you can tell them, despite the circumstances and everything in the media?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say to them that they should not want to be like me. They should want to be the best version of themselves. I'm someone who found my calling, embraced it and work every day to perfect it. You should do the same thing. You can take from people, you can, read from my chapters, What has Take been done? What has it gone through? And put that as, something to help motivate you. But make your own, make your own success. And that's what makes life beautiful, that we're all different, we're all talented in different ways. So be true to yourself. Music looks for people with unique identity. If you're gonna come into music and sound like the next guy, they'd rather hear the next guy you're trying to sound like, and not you. So be unique, be different, don't be afraid to explore. Just because it doesn't exist does not mean it shouldn't materialize. So invent, spearhead music, reach out. And one last thing I would say is that success is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. So there have been cases where other people have done music maybe for 5 years, and only on the 6th year they did one song that the whole world
everybody knows about it.
You know what I mean? And so everyone has a path. Be patient with it, nurture it, invest in yourself, and eventually you get to where you want to go.
So you have also been one of the top artists that have collaborated with a lot of people locally and internationally. How did you get yourself to connect with everybody? Because pretty sure it must be hard to really get yourself outside there, coming from Malawi, and be able to connect to all these big artists that you've collaborated with. So how can you tell us more about your connections and your success? Because I'm sure other people would like to collaborate with everybody else. But you have managed to be one of the top artists to have a lot of collaborations on there. So how can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I know my belief is that your network equals your net worth.
Yeah.
You know, it's very important to link up with people. And that is one of the things that I'm very good at doing, networking. Every time I go to a place, I always want to know what you do. You know, what are the things that you're into? How can I maybe work with you or maybe link you with the next person? So for me, when I enter a room, by the time I leave that room, you know, I sort of have an idea on who's who. And that helps me build on my brand because I know exactly how my brand will be, and I know if I can link up with this person and that person, this is, you know, the direction that needs to take place. So for me, being able to collaborate with different people across Africa has been through this formula. Just be a person who's approachable, but also be eager to learn and be able to interact and grow your brand. Everywhere I go, I try to do collaborations so that I can introduce myself. You know, you might be big in your country, but in other countries they don't know you.
They don't really know you.
And so when you do collaborations, it gives you also an opportunity for the people in that area to sort of say, oh, who's this person? Where did they come from?
Let us know about their music.
Exactly. So be very open to those. And just one thing, that is humility. Be humble. You know, people who are ahead of you in terms of just, they've been in the industry longer, you know, just be humble towards them, respectfully, you know, and you see that they'll even open bigger and more doors for what you're trying to do.
Okay, that's really good. So everybody knows you as a musician. Yeah, so what else, what's your side hustle and everything else that you do despite maybe working in the studio, looking for your next new hit? So what other things do you do?
Funny thing, I only go to the studio when I found the hit. You know, but what else do I do? You see, music for me is, I like to say, a hobby gone, you know, gone right, or you know, something that I enjoy doing, that has given me so much success. But before the music came along, I've always been a businessman. So back home, I have several companies that deal in different sectors and different investments as well outside of Malawi. So when people see me traveling, most of the times it's either I'm traveling for one of my businesses, or it's, you know, related to music. So but at the end of the day, music is business as well.
And then this is also, you tried to join politics. How is that going for you?
Politics, yes. You know, I believe that a lot of young people, you know, have exceptionally great ideas. And when you're young, you've got the energy to run and implement those things. So for me, where I wanted to stand as Member of Parliament for a place where I come from, which is Lilongwe City Center. This is a place that I've grown up, you know, in. My grandparents lived in this area, so for me, going back for holidays, this is the place that I spent my childhood in. You know, went to school there, my church was there, my friends are there. So the problems that are within the community, I'm aware of firsthand. We call it Lilongwe City Center, but when you look at it, it does not look like a city center. So for me, I was inspired by that, to say, I see the change that I want to implement, right? I see the vision. So for me, in order to do that, I need to join politics. And that was my drive, and, you know, lead into politics.
Okay, that's actually really good. It's good to see young people joining politics.
It's very important. You know,
it's very important. Always those people that are in politics and they're going on, and young people are scared to join politics. So it's actually good to have young guys joining the politics industry. And that's actually also wrap up our show. So if you say anything maybe you want to say to your fans, or artists and everybody else, you can just give a shout out.
So thank you first and foremost for having me on the show. And to everybody that tuned in, thank you for watching. It's always a pleasure to share my life story. Part of it, I mean, you can't, you know, share everything in the short space of time. But for me, I'm always thankful and grateful to have your support. I would not be here if it wasn't for the support that people have given me. And I hope that today as well I've introduced myself to new fans who have gotten to get to know a bit about me. Follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, get to know more of my music, and hopefully I'll see you in the city or town near you.
Yeah, and actually he's also got a new upcoming song.
Most definitely, it's got Too Much, and it's going to be out very soon.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. This is 2020 and new music on the way.
So follow him and get to like his pages and follow his music, and you get to know about him. So that is all we had for you guys here on How I Made It, and you get to meet our star right here, Grin-Nyau, award-winning artist in Malawi. So until next time, it's goodbye, and you're with me in Ngugi International. Bye bye.
Bad thing, and I know one thing, girl, you too much. Girl, you a bad thing, and I know one thing, girl, you too much. Too much, 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 too much. Wine and dip low, dance the reggae and calypso. Move your hips slow, iwe pali benso. Tell me what you want from me. Ines in the corner. Tell me what you want, my baby girl. Is it sweet banana?